Today's Liverpool news comes with two big updates. First, a major update on Alexander ISAK, as the coach confirmed, he's now fully ready and about to start firing. And second, Arne spoke about the upcoming Manchester United clash, saying, "It's going to be a very interesting game to look forward to." Welcome to LFC Transfer Hub, your ultimate source for all the latest Liverpool FC transfer news, rumors, and exclusive updates. Alexander ISAK, Liverpool striker, is now ready to start firing, says Arne. Liverpool head coach Arne insists British record signing Alexander Isak's season starts now, with the striker fully up to speed, having missed pre-season amid his lengthy transfer saga. The £125 million man has played just 313 minutes over 6 appearances, scoring once in a Carabao Cup win over Southampton, since his move from Newcastle on deadline day. ISAK has played an additional 198 minutes for Sweden, although in 2 full World Cup qualifiers over the international break he failed to find the net against Kosovo or Switzerland. However, ahead of the visit of arch-rivals Manchester United, Slot said the 26-year-old was now ready to go. "I think now he has had his 5-6 weeks of pre-season, which is normal for every player, especially if you have been out for 3 or 4 months, said the Dutchman. "Fitness-wise he is close to the level he should be and we can judge him in a fair way from now on. I know how this industry works. If he plays there, Sweden, twice and doesn't score, that's not what you're hoping for, of course. You are hoping if they go to the national team they score goals like Cody, Gakpo, did, like Virgil, Van Dijk, did, like Dominic, Szoboszlai, did, like Alexis, Mac Allister did, but he didn't. His preseason has maybe finished now, he has played a few games 70, 80, 90 minutes, so let's see where he is in the upcoming weeks." ISAK is not the only player who has struggled over the early part of the season. Even before they lost 3 games in a week, a number of Slot's squad had been underperforming, including the likes of midfielder Mac Allister and Mohamed Salah. The former is another who has been affected by a lack of full fitness, but, after scoring twice in Argentina's friendly win over Venezuela, Slot hopes he is back to his best. One thing is clear is that he missed out on a lot, unfortunately. He went out, injured, immediately after we won the league, and we were expecting him to be back for the start of pre-season, which he wasn't, added the head coach. That led to the fact he wasn't able to play 3 times in a row, so he went in out 60 minutes, 45 minutes, and that is never an ideal scenario for a player. But like all the others, he is a player who has experienced so much already in his career. He will be back at the level he wants and the level I want from him. Salah, whose return of 4 goals in 10 games is below his expected high levels, also scored twice as Egypt secured World Cup qualification against Djibouti, but he has come in for scrutiny for his all-round contribution, particularly defensively against Chelsea, who targeted Liverpool's right side. "I heard the comments from Mark Cucurella and saw how they scored the 2-1, but I can also show you the 5 or 6 moments where Mo could have made the difference for us," Slot added. "If that had happened, we would have had the conversation like we did last season where he made the difference so many times for us. If that doesn't happen, then there are probably comments like this. Liverpool not as far away as some would have you believe. Judge us fairly appeared to be the common theme in what Arne had to say. On Alexander ISAK, for instance, he feels he has belatedly completed a full pre-season, therefore we can judge him in a fair way from now on. He accepts that as a group there are clearly problems to solve. He's still far from happy at the number of goals Liverpool have conceded, highlighting as well the number of crosses they've allowed from open play. So, they're looking for answers in that area, particularly as goals are proving harder to come by. Scoring stats, chances, shots on target are all down from last season. At the same time, Slot makes the point that they are still the team from open play to create the most opportunities, hitting the target more than anyone else from those chances. So, at this point in time it feels like fine margins are costing Liverpool. Whereas earlier in the season big moments were going in their favor, against Chelsea, for example, there were opportunities to make the difference that weren't taken. The bottom line is, and it's accepted by Slot, that they need to and can do better. If you look at the 10 games, Slot says, it was 10 times quite equal, like last season, by the way. And we are trying to work every single day to make that gap between us and the teams we face bigger. The need to do better isn't just born out of a 3-game losing streak, it's an acceptance across the season that they have not found their best levels. However, it feels like there is an underlying defiance that they're not as far away as some would have you believe. Liverpool's fullback issues, Salah slump, and Wirtz worries, what Slot must fix. 3 straight defeats for the first time in his Liverpool managerial career has left Arne Slot with plenty to ponder during the international break ahead of the visit of Manchester United to Anfield on Super Sunday, writes Richard Morgan. Arne Slot's pre-Man UTD press conference, a very interesting game and one to look forward to. Arne Slot admitted his excitement levels go up in the build-up to a fixture between Liverpool and Manchester United. The rivals meet at Anfield on Sunday afternoon as the Premier League gets underway again following the international break. Slot previewed the eagerly anticipated game by attending a press conference at the AXA training center on Friday morning. On his message to the players, "I think what we can say if we compare ourselves to last season, we don't create as many chances as we did in the start of last season. But we are still the team that from open play creates the most XG chances, most shots on target. But we've conceded too many goals, that's for sure, and we've conceded 9, where 4 of them are from set pieces. That was and still is, by the way, a strength of US, which sounds weird if you concede 4, but that's not a reflection of the chances we've conceded in terms of set pieces. The other 5 were 2 fast breaks and 3 from open play. I think in open play we are conceding too many crosses, so that is one of the things what we have to address and what we have to do better." Like Virgil, van Dijk says, "I think he means that teams are facing us differently than the first half of last season, but that is also what I've said. The amount of long balls that we are facing now compared to last season, I think we're already 1/3 on the way in the amount of long balls we have to defend compared to last season after 7 games already. So, we have to find answers to that, and the first answer is not to concede so many goals. Because if it's harder to score your goals, the best thing you can do is make it harder for teams to score against you as well." On responding after 3 consecutive defeats, "I think it should not matter who you are playing on Sunday or Saturday, but we play on Sunday. If you've lost 3 games in a row and you wear the Liverpool shirt, it doesn't matter who your opponent is, you have to react. If there's one thing I cannot blame the players for, they give everything they have every single game. They go all in from the first until the last minute. This is what we did in the last 3 games as well. In all 3 games we had to come back from being 1-0 down, and in 2 games we managed to do so, but unfortunately lost in the end where we were having chances in both games, maybe more than our opponent, to win it. But if you've lost 3 in a row, it doesn't matter if Man United is coming or Brentford next week, there should always be a reaction, not only from Mo Salah, but from all the players." On facing Manchester United, "I look forward to every single Premier League game, but maybe even more towards the United one, because I know how special it is and I've experienced last season how special a game it is. We know that it's probably the game that's been watched the most all over the world. It's special to be part of it, but in the end it's also a game where we have to be at our best, because United, in my opinion, has had a better start of the season than maybe the league table is showing. A very interesting game and a game to look forward to, especially because it's played at Anfield. I think our fans have been so supportive for us as long as I'm here and long before I was here. I think they understand that the team that has lost 3 times in a row, they need to be ready, our team, but I think our fans can help us and will help us on Sunday as well." On Alexander Isak's fitness, "I think that's what we did, build him up, and now he's had his 5-6 weeks of preseason, which is normal for every player, especially if you've been out for 3 or 4 months. Fitness-wise, I think he's now close to the level he should be, and now I think we can judge him in a fair way from now on. I know how this industry works. If he plays there twice, with Sweden, and doesn't score, then that's not what you're hoping for. Of course you're hoping if they go to the national team that they score, like Cody Gakpo did, like Virgil did, like Dominic Szoboszlai did, like Alexis Mac Allister did. Do I forget a few? But he didn't. But I think his preseason may be finished now. He's played a few games, 70, 80, 90 minutes. So, let's see where he is in the upcoming weeks." On Mac Allister, "One thing is clear, and that's what was in your question. Unfortunately, he went out immediately after we won the league, and we were expecting him to be back from the start of preseason, which he wasn't. That led to the fact he wasn't able to play 3 times in a row, so he went in, out, 60 minutes, 45 minutes. That's never an ideal scenario for a player. But like all the others, he's a player that has experienced so many things in his career already that he will be back at the level he wants and the level I want from him.